Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm Bruce Shutan, a freelance writer and journalist based outside of Los Angeles. I have been covering the workplace for nearly 34 years. A good part of that has been writing for trade publications that are read by human resource executives. Recently, I had the pleasure of interviewing Idan for an article about the importance of cyber hygiene. Never quite heard it put that way in HR departments. And this is obviously a practice that is increasingly becoming necessary across the business world. Now, as we start, imagine what would happen if one day all of your private information was stolen. Passwords, social security numbers, medical and financial information gone in a second. What would you do? In light of the recent wave of cyber attacks we've seen around the world in the past few years, the question is becoming a reality for millions. What would you do? The numbers are growing. In this live stream, we'll be discussing what businesses can do to protect themselves with cybersecurity. Businesses usually possess highly classified, confidential information, and in many organizations, there are countless vulnerabilities that can leave them open to the threat of cyber attack. One of these hacks can expose this confidential information, and in doing so, completely dismantle the business. With us today is Idan Edri, CEO of Trustifi Corporation, who will discuss these common vulnerabilities and what businesses can do to protect themselves. Trustifi offers email communication solutions in businesses of any size, including secured sending tracking services, high volume campaigns, e-signature, and certified email. Welcome, Idan.
Hi, thank you very much, and thank you for the attendees, and it's a great pleasure to be here online with you guys.
So, quick question. Cyber attacks have been all over the news lately with the hacking of Equifax, Yahoo, and Deloitte. And today being the last day of Cybersecurity Awareness Month and Halloween, ironically, I think it's important to ask, should the average person care about cyber attack, or why should they care about cyber attack?
You know, that's a great question, and I've been asked these questions a lot lately. The answer is obviously yes, because if you have any type of concern in regards to your private information, and most of your way of communicating with your either businesses or suppliers, or actually anyone, is emails, then you have to start to understand that you need to be aware of the fact that you need to take care of your personal information and protect it. Our company, as you mentioned, we're doing email encryption, and this is just a small bite from a different angle of a very large domain of cybersecurity. And people really need to look today, whether if they're doing real estate, healthcare institution, banks, lawyers, all of those organizations today have to put on their list as a must, how do I protect my client's privacy in one hand, and how do I protect my liability towards my client of protecting their information? And having said that, all the organizations I just mentioned, which are very few, legal, real estate, healthcare, they're holding very vulnerable information of us. If it's real estate, it's bank statements, it's bank account, it's financial information of us. If it's healthcare, it's all the information of our health. It's our social security, it's our address, it's our blood test. These are type of data that personally, I don't think nobody would like to have it on the hands of the wrong people.
Who are these cyber criminals, Idan? What motivates them?
Well, our clients and people that are actually on this webinar can see the numbers they're running on the slide. 65% of the attackers today are doing it for money. And I'd like to divide the hackers into two main groups. One is the group that focusing on homeland security perspective when it's terrorist attack or country against the country, or they want to achieve a result which involved homeland security concerns. And the other group of the hackers is coming from the classic financial, whether it's ransomware cases that we see right now lately, whether it's stealing information and reselling over the darknet. 65% of the hackers are actually doing it for money. On top of it, the hackers today target how I'm going to make maximum results with a minimum effort. Hackers of today understood that in order to hack a big organization that have a lot of infrastructure that protect his data, they need a lot of resources. They need to invest a lot of money and effort and computers and people to help them to hack this type of organization. While today they're focusing on the easiest way by going on the small businesses and small organization that does not invest a lot of money on protecting their data and actually collecting money, small amount of money, but collecting money from a lot of small businesses and having the same result with minimum effort. So to describe the hackers of today, 65% are actually motivated by money, so they want to make money out of the hack. And then on top of it, they're not going to invest more than an average of 40 hours per attack to get the result. So these are the classic hackers of today.
So if cyber criminals are motivated by money, is big business the only target?
Well, actually, no. And I actually just mentioned it. Today, they're focusing again on getting a fast result, like optimizing the result of the attack by investing minimum effort. So actually, the size of the business does not matter. It's the result and the outcome. It's the money that they're going to make out of it. It's the effort that they need to put in order to get this money. So it's actually based on statistics only and the numbers that we're running today. An invest of a big small business to overcome and recuperate from a cyber attack is approximately $700,000. So when a hacker understands this price that the small business needs to do in order to overcome the cyber attack, he can say, you know what, I'm going to make it cheaper for the business. I'm going to do a ransom case and I'm going to ask for $300,000. And then I'm going to get $300,000. And in his mind, as a hacker, he's actually saving money for the business owner. And you know, it's funny that I'm talking about it like this, but this is the world we're living in. And Trustifi, when we're doing the email encryption, actually, we're performing also penetration tests for our client. And we show them the vulnerability and how much of their information of their client is actually out there. Then they understand, you know, they build a reputation for so many years, and then one hacker in a very simple attack can basically shut the business down. So to answer again and to focus my answer to your question is, it doesn't matter the business size. It actually matters how I'm going to achieve the target in the best effort and the less money to invest in order to get the best result.
What type of information are cyber criminals stealing?
Well, it's really variety of product, if I can say. When we're talking about real estate, they're targeting a lot of bank statements. Bank statements today contains a lot of information that you can correlate over the net and actually get some more information on the person, whether it's the last 4 digits of the account number, the address, the typical profiling of the spending of the person, what store he's basically going, where he's getting his direct deposit, so it can tells me also where he works, what type of invest he did on real estate. So this is one type of information that they're looking on the real estate industry. When we're talking about law firm, then obviously they want to put their hands on a lot of court files that contain a lot of privacy information that's worth a lot of money for the law firm not to reveal and not to be exposed or resell it on the darknet. But this is, of course, one of the information they're seeking from the law firm industry. And then we're going to the medical, where the price for getting information on medical records is actually 10 times more. As a hacker, you're getting paid 10 times more on any type of other data you achieve today in the ClearNet. So what I'm trying to tell you, and that's what I said before, there is a price. There is a actually tag of price of the information you're getting as a hacker and how much you can get for it when you're reselling it on the darknet. And as you see on the slides behind us, 10 times more is getting paid on the medical and healthcare, because this is a very, very critical information of a person. And most of the people today that got hacked and their medical records been stolen, social security, their blood test, or whatever private information they have, they will pay a lot of money to get it back.
What are the biggest vulnerabilities you see in most organizations?
First of all, let's talk a little bit about numbers. There's over 200 billion emails that being sent every day. Again, 200 billion emails that being sent every day. This is a vulnerability by itself. Having said that, excuse me, most of the organization today still not aware that a cybersecurity on their checklist is a must. They're taking it not as a part of their organization structure or a part of their even budget. A lot of time I'm going to law firm and I see them investing so much money in how to make the office beautiful and attractive and beautiful desk and a beautiful technology running on the meeting room and a lot of beautiful computers. But actually, when I'm asking them, let me show you how vulnerable your Wi-Fi is and how I can access your servers here, and all your court records are actually all over the place. What do you do in order to protect this part? And literally, I'm getting faces that they don't understand even what I want from them. So I think one of the biggest vulnerability right now in an organization that the cybersecurity part is not on their checklist. And I'm always using the same metaphor. When you're buying a car, you have to register your car and you have to buy insurance for your car. When you're running a business that contain internet technology, that contain some type of communication with your client, that contain data privacy of your client, credit card, court cases, whatever it is, and the way that you communicate with your clients is via emails, then you have to take under consideration how you protect their privacy in one hand and how you protect yourself being liable for this information of your client. I think this is one of the biggest problem right now of organization, that they're still not aware of the fact that cybersecurity needs to be a part of it. On top of it is that the organization today still don't realize that one of their employees is actually one of the bigger threats to be as a cyber criminal. And I think that today, on top of any typical background check that companies are running when they hire people, I think one of the things that they need to run on the checklist is actually who's taking care of information security within my organization, who is performing tests on their emails of the employee, on the file that they are transferring. Are they using their private Gmail on the same computer of the organization? Are they forwarding email to some type of a private email account? All of this type of things that help you to trace those type of vulnerabilities needs to be within the organization. And there is solution out there. I'm not talking about something which is science fiction. There's a lot of companies that offer a lot of services, and the companies like Trustifi, like my company, that we're offering email encryption and pen testing and those monitoring tool on email accounts of protecting your business and making sure that your business is really running as you want it, and your employees are really loyal to you, and they're not performing any information security breach that risk at the end your organization. And I really want to pinpoint one important thing. You can be the best lawyer in the world, running one of the biggest firms, and you have an unbelievable reputation of success in court, and you built a business for 30 years. And then hacker, which is 22, 23, 24 years old, they just know how to play a little bit with Wi-Fi or phishing emails or spoofing or any type of tools that they want to use, can take your business down in less than 1 hour. And I think this is what people need to understand. When we're living in a digital world, you don't need to put a lot of effort to take a business down anymore. It is very easy. And that's the reason I'm always saying you put so much money on insurance and on lawyers, on serving your client, you have to put money for cybersecurity as well.
Mm-hmm. So what should organizations do today to begin preparing for a cyber attack?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's starting with IT. Your IT department in your organization, first of all, needs to, and by the way, it doesn't matter whether you're small or big. Again, if you're dealing with emails, if you're dealing with data, if you're dealing with privacy of people, you have to do that. So your IT first needs to understand architectural wise, what is the network that's going to use by the employees and what is the network that's going to use by the guest. And the funny part is that I'm coming on 90% of my clients today on the same router have a Wi-Fi that they call it guest and a Wi-Fi that they call it work or employees or in-house or whatever. But it's the same router at the end of the day. It doesn't matter that this one is protected, the Wi-Fi here is protected, and the other Wi-Fi is not protected because it's guest. It's still sitting on the same gateway, so you really don't do anything. Number one. So when IT department within the organization first needs to build the architecture smartly and to separate Wi-Fi's and to make sure this is used for the employees. That's where I want all my data to run on this path, on this road, and on the other road, which is completely clear, there is nothing connected but my guests. And of course, as well, needs to be monitored. On top of it, using multi-factor authentication. And again, not two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication. What I mean by that is not only that you need to do password, a classic password on your laptop. Today, Windows 10, for example, Professional offer BitLocker, which is a very, very good software that I think in my organization, at least, it's a must. It's under my policy. When you have a laptop, you have to activate BitLocker, and this is encrypt your hard drive, and I don't care whatever happened to the laptop, I know that at least in this case, I'm covered. So you need a BitLocker to encrypt your hard drive. You need a password, of course, a complicated one to log in into your Windows. You need another password to log into your email account. You need to authenticate whether it's on a phone or any type of mobile. If you're on the way, if you're on the work, using your personal device in order to answer emails. So multi-factor authentication is very important also to protect your business. And on top of it, of course, then you need to understand what are the potential threats, what type of data I want to protect, and how I'm going to make sure that even if I have a cyber attack, where do I want the hacker to feel that he got what he wanted, but actually he didn't touch what I wanted to touch. And what I mean by that is, again, if you're buying a house, you make sure you put camera system, you make sure you have a lock on the front door, you put a fire alarm detector, you put a fence. All of this is not going to prevent from somebody to go in. If somebody really wants to find a way into the house, he's going to find a way. But if you build it smart and you put the things that are really, really important for you, the valuable, in a different location, and you actually give him the path to go into the house, but you want him to end up in a certain room, it is the same strategy that we're using when we're protecting our client. We're actually preparing ourselves that there's going to be a hack and there's going to be find a way to go in, but we're going to let him go in where we want him to go in, but not to the core business or the core data location of the business in order to protect the real valuable.
Idam, one final question, and then we'll kick it open to questions from our audience. And that it's kind of a big question, but it needs to be asked. What do you think is the future of cybersecurity?
Well, that's a very, as you said, it's a very big question. I think that one of our biggest challenge today as people that works in the cybersecurity industry, and I'm in this industry for almost 15 years, since I finished military, we find it very hard to catch up with the technology. by the time we are developing a solution, there's already another breach and another way to breach in. So I think the big fight is how we're going to catch up with the defense against the offense, the attackers, the hackers. But I think the future of cybersecurity is going to be way more hard than what it is today. Personally, I think that's the next war. I mean, if you can shut down a country by eliminate their critical infrastructure, which what I did in my past company, protecting critical infrastructure. So why to put so much effort in hacking a bank and just steal money if you can just shut down the electricity of the whole state and then and you're getting better results. So I think the future of cybersecurity is going to be way more difficult than what it is today, and we're going to have to catch up with this. On top of it, I think that protecting the data is not only just protect the data like the perimeter where the data is located, it's protect the data itself. One of the best example that we did in Trustifi, and this is why we are military grade encryption, is that because we are encrypting the file already on the level of your client. In your computer, the file is already encrypted. We don't let it pass as a clear net or as a clear file on the net, and then we encrypt it. And this is a very big added value for customer. And by the way, our clients also testing us. They're bringing penetration tests, and they see that, you know, it's almost hack. And you cannot really hack it because the encryption of the file is already on the level of the client. So I think what we're going to see, the more the future is going to come, you're going to see that the encryption level is all the way at the beginning point, and not only on the servers or any type of path that the software solution is going to give you. On top of it, I think that there's going to be a lot of SaaS platform, software as a service, for clients today to protect cybersecurity. And you're going to see a very heavy progress in what I call multi-factor authentication. And I just mentioned it before. There's not going to be only a password and just log in. It's going to be really multi-factor. We're going to reach to the level that we identify the MAC address, the serial number, on the level of the hardware that sits on the laptop in order to make sure that this is the real user who's using it. We're going to see a lot of improvement on the artificial technology of getting profile information of the user and what type of pattern the user is using on the computer in order to see if that's the real person behind it. So you're going to see a lot of sophisticated tool come into the market. But unfortunately, and I don't want to sound like, you know, the one who brings just only bad into the system, but if it happens to Clinton, which were Secretary of State, it can happen to anyone. We are going to see much more heavier cyber attack than what we experience today. And by the way, and I'm sure a lot of people knows that from the cybersecurity industry, a lot of attacks are not being revealed in the media, but they happen every day. But we're going to start to see much more heavier cyber attack.
Mm-hmm. Idan, thank you so much for your insight. We'll open it up to questions from the audience. We've got a couple already. Who do you think is responsible for cyber attacks such as what happened at Equifax?
Yeah, well, that's a tricky question. And I've been asked this question when I was on Fox News. And also in a local channel in San Diego. And I'm going to be very careful with my answer on this one. In one hand, you really need a lot of resources to perform such an attack on Equifax and reveal the 140 million social security numbers and all the background behind it. It is a big attack. But in the other hand, the fingerprint that we see on the cyber world, at least in my company, and only in my opinion, only, does not show that there's a country behind it. It looks like it's more a very well sophisticated, I can call maybe organization that knew exactly what it's doing. Because if it was a country behind it, in my perspective, we would see different results. And we would see different type of threats in order to continue. I mean, why not to capture the data and then ask for money for it? So it's a little bit tricky. The only thing I can comment on this one is I recommended all my clients to perform a credit freeze, and I'm doing it myself because everybody got hit. It's not only 140 million. What people don't understand, it's the credit bureau connected to each other. So if they got you on here, they can get you on TransUnion and others. And on top of it, I think that the big mess and the real outcome of this attack is going to come in the tax season. You're going to see a lot of identity theft. You're going to see a lot of problem with tax returns, false tax statements. This is where the big mess is going to start on this attack.
How do consumers know if they're impacted? What are the telltale signs?
So a consumer that doesn't have any type of cybersecurity software or any type of antivirus or firewall, unfortunately, it's almost impossible to know that you've been hacked. Practically, if you don't run any type of software on the background that do some type of check on your organization, I can just sit on the organization and just take data constantly and nobody will feel, nobody will know. It's exactly like you leave your house open. Everybody can just come in and go out. You'd never know because you don't have a camera and you don't have any sensors and you don't have alarm and the door is unlocked. It's the same, exactly the same metaphor. So if you already think you've been hacked, I think one of them, it's again, what is the target of the hacker? If it's just there to play with you and just to steal information, then you probably will never know. But if he's going to use this information against you, and then you feel you're getting too many emails that you normally are not getting it, and you're getting emails from organization that you never ever registered, and people are telling you, hey, did you send me this email because I got this email from you saying, call me here. And if you're starting to get a lot of different weird phone calls that not those telemarketing calls, I'm talking about calls that actually hang up on you. This is a sign that you need to check what's going on in your system. If you're running a business, whether you're individual, and you know that you're containing an information that somebody really wants to put their hands on. On top of it, any person today, and this is what I'm telling to my client as well, if you ever sent over an email, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever it is, a copy of your passport, a copy of your bank statement, a copy of your title, a copy of a pictures of something you don't want to have there, you must check yourself and you must protect yourself. And we have a tool, by the way, to check your email account, and we can tell you whether you expose in the darknet or not. And if your email account is already over there with different type of people that are using it for something, we have a way to check that and we can tell it our customers. So there is no way really to identify whether you are attacked or not, unless you have some type of tool that do the monitoring for you. Exactly like the metaphor of the house.
Another question, how can businesses implement the right software or take the right action?
Well, obviously, when we are getting a call from clients, whether it's via our website or conference that we're participating, or we're specified in law firm, real estate, and financial and medical care, it's really a hard question. Again, if I'm running a business today, any type of business, and by the way, even if I'm an individual, I have family, I have kids, I'm using travel agents, I'm sending a copy of passport, I'm booking flight tickets. If I'm running a business, then I'm probably using bank structure, online banking. Sometimes I'm sending a copy of my social security, my driver license. Then I need to ask myself what I need to do in order to protect myself in a minimum cost, maximum effort, but something. The same exactly way that when I'm buying a house, I'm putting a lock in the door. It's a must. I'm not going to sit and slip in the house when the door is like unlocked and open. So how do you know what's the best thing for you? First, what do you want to protect? Second, how much you're willing to pay for it. Trustifi is a solution, for example, and I'm going to be a salesperson right now, just for the sake of the discussion, is $13.99 a month. Are you willing to invest less than $1 per day to protect your information and your data privacy and your email account, whatever you have, Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, whatever? If the answer is yes, then do it. If the answer is no, then understand the risks behind it. And I'm not just saying about Trustifi. There is a lot of companies out there that offering same solutions or different type of solution. But to know what is the right thing for you is to ask, what do I want to protect? How much I'm willing to pay for it? And the best and the most important question is, what will happen if I'll be hacked, and how much money, or what is the potential damage that can happen to me if I'm not going to protect myself.
We're out of time and questions. Idan, thank you so much for today's live stream. We hope everybody enjoyed it.
Thank you very, very much.